officer shot at point-blank range, and he survived.
It was a robbery suspect shooting a South Carolina police officer at point-blank range.
Take your hands out your pocket! Shots fired!
South Carolina police officer Quincy Smith thought he was on the brink of death.
This range, I'm in! This ain't gonna stop, I'm in! I'm in! Stop! Take your hands out your pocket! Take your hands out your pocket! If you don't stop, so I'm gonna tase you. I'm not playing with you. Take your hands out your pocket! Take your hands out your pocket! Take your hands out your pocket! Shots fired! Shots fired! This range, I'm in! This ain't gonna stop, I'm in! I'm in! I'm a Tyson. Dispatch. Help.
Hey guys, so I just want to take a few minutes to talk about something I think is extremely important, and it's complacency sometimes in a smaller town. From where we work in the city of Alachua, a lot of times we get asked whatever happens here, and I think sometimes that can instill in us that things may not happen, but you know, if you have a uniform on and you carry a badge, that monster can come in front of you at any time. And we're fortunate enough to be here today with Quincy Smith, who's an officer in South Carolina, and a lot of us have seen the video of his shooting situation where he was shot multiple times by a suspect by something as simple as a shoplifting situation. So Quincy, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Giving us a few minutes of your time. So tell us about that day. It was January 1st. What year was that?
2016.
All right.
So basically, I received the call. Well, for one, Escalating is a very small town. It's about 2,000 people, just under that. You know, about 3 square miles big. And at that time, my department so small, we had 7 officers. I was one of those 7 officers. And what we do, we run 1 officer during the daytime, and during the holidays and weekends, the officer is literally by himself. And closest backup probably is about 10 miles away. Okay. So January 1st, 2016, I received a call about a guy snatching a bottle of liquor from somebody at the store. You know, at first, you know, when the call came out, you know, I was like, that can't be right. Maybe I think it's armed robbery. They must have got it wrong when he said it. So I asked my dispatch, I said, what was he doing again? And dispatch said that a complainant stated he was trying to snatch the man's bottle of liquor. I'm like, okay, it's about to be a bullshit call. You know, I'm gonna talk to the guy, check his name, make sure you're not wanted, and pretty much send him home. You know, that was my whole mindset that day. Nothing else. I didn't think about anything else but just talking to him, you know, running his name, sending him home. So I drive over to the area. I cut my body camera on just before I pull up, circle around the building because I didn't see anybody in front of the building. All right, and I pulled up to behind the building. I saw the gentleman they described in a camouflage hunting suit standing talking with a guy in a red shirt. So okay, I said, okay, that might be him over there. I go inside the store to confirm that was the guy they was talking about. So the lady runs up to me and says, hey, yeah, the man's over there, you know, by the guy in the red shirt and the camouflage hunting suit. He tried to snatch the man's bottle of liquor, but the man jumped in the car, he fought him off and drove off. I'm like, okay, so pretty much I don't have no victim now either. So pretty much really what I'm really going to do is try to get him, talk to him, you know, run his name, make sure he got no warrants and send him home. You know, if the store wanted him to trespass, I'll trespass him. So after I got that information, you know, nobody said anything about a weapon or anything. So at this time, like I said, I'm just thinking about, you know, talking to him, running his name, send him home. I get back in my patrol car, pull up and drive up to where the gentleman was. He starts walking away when I pull up. And I say, hey man, come here for a second. You know, he just looked at me and just kept on walking. So at this time, I'm like, come here, man. I started to get a little more aggressive towards him, you know, just come talk to me, you know. So I give him several commands to stop, and then I notice his hands in his pocket. Now, at the time, I'm not really thinking about, you know, the dangers of that. I knew I didn't like his hand in his pocket because something could be there, but, you know, I was just so relaxed. I'm like, you know what, I'm used to that. In Estel, you know, where we work at, when you tell somebody to come here and come talk to you for a second, they just look at you, ignore you like they don't hear you.
Right.
You know, and then when you get close enough to them and, you know, threaten them with a taser or something like that, then they'll stop you like, hey, what you want, man? I didn't do anything, you know. So that's
last thing you were probably thinking is there's a gun. You're probably thinking, okay, he's just being defiant because that's kind of the environment we're in now. Just police presence doesn't seem to have a whole lot of effect, and when we're giving commands, they're just going to ignore it. Hey, I don't have to stop. So at that point, you're thinking, what's going through your mind?
At that point, I'm thinking like, yo, why is this guy not stopping? If only you know, I'm just trying to talk to you. I'm just gonna check, make sure you got no warrants, and you're going home, you know. So. But I like I said, I still was kind of, you know, uneasy about the hand being in the pocket. But I still continue on missing those, you know, dangerous cue signs that something's about to go down bad. You know, it wasn't processing in my head like, look, this is about to turn bad. You know, red alert. You know, so but I still continued on. I got close enough to him. As soon as I got close enough to him, he pulled his hand out of his jacket pocket. After I gave that final command to remove his hand, he removed it, but he had a gun in his hand and commenced the shooting. He shot at me 8 times. He hit me 3 times.
Where did he hit you at?
First shot hit me in the neck. I didn't even know I got hit any other time. But first shot hit me in the neck. Now I didn't even see the weapon. I heard the bang, and I remember, you know, looking at his face. He had that just evil look on his face, you know. And when the first shot hit me in the neck, I felt the pressure on my neck, and I felt the force pushing me to the ground. So when I fell to the ground, I just realized like, oh shit, I just got shot. You know, I need to get some cover, so I get my gun out and start shooting back. I get up, run towards my patrol car, because that's the only cover I had. I was in a big open area. So when I was running back to my patrol car, I'm trying to get on my radio from my lapel mic, which sits up on my left shoulder. And I'm trying to reach up with my left hand, you know, the radio my dispatch, and let them know I've been in the shooting. I need help. While I was doing that, I kind of glanced down. My arm felt funny, when I glanced down, half of my arm was pointing towards the ground, the other hand was pointing towards the sky, because I was trying to reach up and grab my lapel mic. And I immediately started panicking right there. So I'm gonna continue running, you know, panicking, and I try to reach my right arm. Well, unfortunately, the bullet that hit me in the neck damaged the nerves in my right arm, so I couldn't use it. So in essence, I was running with no arms.
Right.
But I was able to get back to my patrol car, and what I did was I kind of used my body weight to throw my arm up under the door handle and use my body weight to open the door. And I was able to get inside the vehicle and throw my arm on the emergency button, emergency button, and when I leaned back, I grabbed the mic, and I was only able to lift it up to the top of my stomach to talk on the radio. And that's pretty much, you know, what happened.
So, man, 2 things. One, the testament of just that spirit that you had in you to just get out of that situation, get to a place of cover. Did you black out at all during that?
No,
time?
I was awake through the entire process up until they put me under on the operating table.
So you were fully conscious of what you were doing and knew that you had to try to get to some cover. And I'm assuming the suspect took off running from that spot.
Took off.
Stay still, Quincy. Stay still. That's all. Stay still, Quincy. You man. You got family. You got the ambulance right here. You all right? In the name of Jesus. You all right? You shall live. In the name of Jesus. Amen. You will live. Amen. And not die.
And in the video, we can see or hear people coming to your aid, and primarily you hear a female in there. Come to find out through talking to you, that was a relative of yours.
It was 2 females actually. One was praying for me, and one was asking me questions. You know, they live right around the corner. I'm not from Estel. I'm from a town over, but you know, and it's 10 miles away, so I'm over there constantly. But they have a police scanner in their house, and usually on holidays and on any other day, I'll go over and I'll eat with them and I'll talk and stuff like that. And you know, they cooked. It was New Year's Day, so they cooked, and it was around 11 something, and I didn't show up yet. You know, and then they started hearing all the commotion on the scanner. Now they didn't think it was me, but they knew something was going on around there, so they just drove down there to check to see what was going on. And unfortunately, they saw me laying on the ground.
Okay. And there was a gentleman in there that was trying to keep you calm during that. How much of that trying to keep you calm do you think would really added to your survival in that situation?
Man, I think it's one of the key reasons why I'm still here, because in essence, you know, his comfort and him, you know, just say, hey, you like, you're gonna be all right, man. There's not a lot of blood, you know. That really motivated me to like, okay, I think I got a chance, you know, just work on controlling my breathing, you know, calm down and slow my heart rate down so everything won't pump as fast, okay? So I was able, by him, his voice and him being there, you know, and, you know, giving me, reassuring me that I'm gonna be fine, you know, played a big role in me surviving and giving me that mindset on, you know, I'm gonna make it.
Well, man, I think it's a phenomenal story of survival. You talk it, you have the passion of what it takes to kind of survive that situation, and I think your story, because we hear a lot of stories in law enforcement. You've seen videos even before this, and probably thought, man, that ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z because the cops all talk about it. But I think it's a true testament to not being complacent, because you say that's your words, not mine. That's in your presentation about being in a small town, and a lot of times the community says, well, whatever happens here, right? But we know, and you especially know now with your incident, that if you got that badge on and you're carrying that uniform, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're at a 6-man agency or 600 or 6,000 agency. If you're out there doing the job, the monster can come across you. And so, man, brother, I'm glad that you made it out of that. And one last thing I want to say is, it took you how long to come back?
2 years.
2 years.
Just under 2 years.
And you've been back on the road for how long?
For pretty much, this is my first full year being back on the road with that agency. A year and probably a year and a few months.
And that took probably a little adjustment.
Yeah. When I got back to off duty, I'm not off duty. When I got back from out therapy and I got cleared to come back to work, they put me on desk duty for at least about 5 months. And then they kind of worked me on the road. I would go to certain calls, you know, such as burglary that already happened. They just want me to take pictures. They eased my way back into get on the road, you know. So and then April of 2018, I was 100% on the road, answering calls, doing everything that I normally do as a patrol officer.
So let me ask you one last thing, and we'll let you run because I know you're trying to get to class. What's the residual effects now, other than obviously the emotional stuff and trying to get back into the job, which I think is phenomenal, because you could just say, hey, this ain't for me, right? But obviously it's a calling because you're back in it. What was the physical ailments or residual effects that you have that you're still having to deal with now? As a result of
still
that?
dealing with a little pain and a little restriction with my left arm. I had about four surgeries on my arm to even correct the bone, you know, because I had extreme limited movement in my arm right after the hospital. So then my bones started growing back funny. So they corrected it. I have at least 90%, you know, mobility in my left arm now. I had severe nerve damage, you know, that healed up, but I'm still having a little bit of pain and stuff in my back area, because when the bullet hit me in the neck, it traveled downward and off to the right and rested just above my shoulder blade and just underneath the skin. You know, you could see the bullet sticking out of my skin. So I still have a little pain in my back area like that, but it's not to the point where I used to have it, you know. So a lot of things have healed up. I say I'm at least 90 to 95% healed and can work. So
well, you still look fit and strong, man.
I'm gaining a little bit of weight though.
Well, I just wanted to share Quincy's story. I appreciate him giving us a few minutes of his time to talk about that thing. And just remember, it doesn't matter where you work or how big the agency is or how big or small the community is. If you got the uniform on and you're wearing the badge, it's not to make you paranoid. It's just situations like this and having the ability, thank God, to be able to talk to officers like Quincy, that it prepares you. It doesn't make you paranoid, but it makes you prepared for when you go out there. Don't be complacent and learn from situations like that. So hopefully it never happens, but if it does, you're a lot more prepared.